Okay, my friend, this is from TRT World. Are there ancient pyramids in Visoka, Bosnia? Well, I've watched this for many years now. Sam, I can't remember what his last name is, but he's going to be talking about this in a second here. And they're going to show a pyramid, which is going to be just exactly like that. And these are dragon scales, and then they're going to crawl underneath because the dragon scales have veins and arteries in them. You see this? I showed this the other day, and I can actually get a catalase reaction out of the blood that comes out of here. You see right there? There's blood that I did a video on this the other day. He's looking at dragon scales. Now watch this video. Here goes. Again, fair use act. I'm just trying to show what my take is on this.
An unmistakable shape rises from the earth. But this lush valley is 2,000 kilometers from Egypt, and these giants make the pyramids of Giza look like miniatures.
You see that? There is no difference. Now, they're going to go crawling underneath this pyramid in all of these caves. Now, and I'll show you what that cave is. It is exactly like the cave I showed the other day. Well, it may not be exactly like it, but it is an arterial network.
Everything is history changing here.
There is
in a small town in Bosnia, there's a growing belief that they have found the oldest and largest man-made structures on the planet.
We are coming to one of the main attractions. That's underground labyrinth traveling.
Underneath is a network of tunnels. The site has become a magnet for tourists.
All right, where do the tunnels come from? The tunnels are blood vessels which service the bodily functions of a dragon.
It really feels powerful.
I'm Axel Zaimovic, and I've come to Visoko to meet the man behind an alleged discovery that could upend our understanding of history.
Did you just see what he just showed? Let me just show you again, because there are a million different slabs on these dragon scales. You see this? I don't know if you can see that or not, but there are a bazillion different little layers on these. I showed it in the microscope. You could see it very, very simply. But this is what they're looking at here. They're looking at these slabs.
Discovery that could upend our understanding of history.
That's outside.
So we're here outside.
They're all over. There's not just one.
Visoko.
They're everywhere.
Why is this location so significant?
Back in 2005, I first
That is Sam Osmanagich.
came to this town to visit the local museum, and I saw this. This is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, as I later named it.
All right, he named it the Pyramid of the Sun. It's landscape, which is a dragon. Let me show you how I can make that statement. And I'm going to tell you right now, they are underneath. They were walking underneath through a labyrinth of veins and arteries. Okay, big shout out to Water_Skipper on YouTube. And this is Hercules Leg and Juniper Cave, Video 1, Part 16. Apparently they do a ton of these. The first time I ran into them, somebody sent me this and said, take a look and see what you think. And I know what I think. I know exactly what it is. Now, I'm going to play this. And again, this is Water_Skipper. You should come up and help these people out. They're trying to show reality. Now, what are we looking at? This is a gigantic cave system. This system runs literally hundreds of miles. Now, watch what you're looking at here. Watch this patterning. Now, what's that all about? And look at how many different tunnels there are, leading this way, that way, over this way, ups and downs and everywhere. This, my friends, is biology. Now, on these cell walls, and this is cells, these are biological cells. You see that? That is actually what they call a loose junction. No, a junction, a gapped junction. There's tight junctions like these that don't let anything through, and then there's loose gap junctions that do. Because this is like in your blood cells, but you have to be able to give and take, going out of them and into them, like veins and arteries. Veins sucks the stuff in. You see all this stuff? That's cilia. Cilia is if you go and look up adherens junctions, which is these, they'll show you these got these little cilia stuff hanging off them. But look at how unbelievably gigantic this is. These are blood vessels. These are cells. These are blood cells. No, not blood cells. They're the cellular wall, the wall patterns in the cells of your blood vessels, or this guy's blood vessels, whatever it was. Now, it's going to come down, and I'm going to run it until it shows a real good shot of the cilia. But you can see this runs forever. And I'd love to speak with these guys and talk with them. Because I guess they do a ton of this stuff. And this is exactly what I do. Okay, here it is. Well, I mean, they're everywhere. You see, and they're like little, still, this is moisture coming out of there. You see that? That's moisture. And it's running down from above. The loose junctions the tight junctions are going bad. All right, now, here's what we're going to look at. This is cilia. Now, they have all these little hairy looking things hanging down. And they have just run down and then, sort of created like calcified fibers sticking down out of here. But they're not just running out of here like that. Every one of these was a fiber called a cilia. All right, you're probably laughing like hell, this guy's crazy. Well, I'm not crazy. The people that can't open their eyes to see what's in front of them are the ones that are crazy. That's a gigantic fish. All right, that is a gigantic fish. And he's being attacked by a gigantic dragon that runs all the way across North Africa. Now, I know it sounds absolutely unbelievable, and I agree. But it's here. You have to deal with what's here. What do we have here? We have the throat of a dragon that runs all the way down. These are the scales of the dragon. They're talking about scales. You want to see scales? There's some scales for you. All right, those are dragon scales, and that's the throat. All right, and you go all the way down this dragon, all the way through his body. This is his huge body. And that's where he poops right there, and there's people living in that poop because it's extremely fertile. You see that? That's the anus. Right out there. That's where all that stuff runs, and that's where they're living because it's very fertile. In the middle of the desert, in the fertility of poop. All right, now that's where the start of the tail is. I mean, that's the way tails work. You go way out to here, and you still have dragon scales. You see these? Just like that. You see the size of those compared to the one Sam was talking about? Look at the size of these babies. That's all it is dragon scales. You see all the layering? Same thing with this. See all those layers? Alright, so this is not silly, and you could drive easily Mack trucks through the veins and arteries of this creature. They would be just enormous. This thing is 1,100 miles long or more. I can't remember. It's huge. And it fits exactly what they said of Typhon. If you read Apollodorus, down here is still his coils. On the bottoms of his legs, they said he had thighs like a human and then coils that went down all the way across Africa. And you see what you're seeing there? That's not sand dunes. That is skin. That is the texture of some type of skin. Leathery formation of skin. That has nothing to do with, well, I mean, there might be a little bit of erosion here and there, or sand dunes, but this is skin. You go to a tannery, and you ask them what this looks like. And they'll say, well, it looks like skin. And they would take this and roll this with a roller and flatten it like crazy, and then put a little chemistry here and there into it, and it would become leather. And that's what they make, you know, ostrich hides out of and things like that. That's exactly what you're looking at there. Now, the problem with society today is they are ruled by a set of ideas that they just can't see past. What's here is here. And if you can deny what's here, then that's up to you. I don't deny what's reality. I see reality. I don't just make a reality for myself. I see it and I confront it. And this is the throat of a dragon. You have Google Earth. You can come up here and look. This is all the runoff of his bodily flesh as it rots in the desert. This happened, I believe, not that long ago. I'm looking at 3,500 years ago is when all of these events happened, a catastrophe on Earth, which was written about. Read Velikovsky. They destroyed him for digging up all of the ancient texts. And he went to everywhere in the world, not just 1, 2, 3, 4, or 10. He went to dozens and dozens. Museums, libraries, cultural places, talked to the indigenous peoples. They all had the same story. Earth was literally almost destroyed by an impact, almost, of Venus into Earth. It boiled the waters, killed virtually everything on the Earth. That's all been recorded in many places, not just by Velikovsky. It was everybody on Earth said the same thing. And everybody now laughs. And then when you see this, you go crazy. You say, well, my mind can't take it. And that's exactly what's happened. The mind is in collision. Okay, my friends, that is my dragon scale that I have here in the microscope. Now, you can see all those different layers. You see all those different layers? And that's basically the same kind of particles that Sam Osmanagich there is seeing over there in his Bosnian Pyramids. Now, this is, let me turn on the light so we'll be able to see this. This right here is the dragon scale that I had in the microscope. And you can see it's loaded with it. Now, inside here is blood vessels. Let me just show you the blood vessels that are in these scales, because they have to be serviced with blood. That's an absolutely perfect pyramid. All right, we're going to be looking at the blood in the microscope. I just put a little water on there so that it would highlight it better. Water and blood are instantaneously mixed together. Now, right there is the blood vessel. Those are the type of places that Sam Osmanagich is walking through. Now, there's this here. I actually got a catalase reaction out of it, very strong catalase reaction, right out of this area here. And you see these little, I think those are gold. I think that the little really shiny spots there are gold, because that's what's in the blood is gold. And it will collect at certain places where it gets sort of restricted. Now, I'm going to put a little catalase on there. I mean, a little hydrogen peroxide on there. And we'll see if we can get a, well, I know we will, because I got one yesterday. So, why shouldn't I get one today, you ask? I asked the same thing. All right, I got to turn the lights off, and let's see what we get here. If it bubbles up, it means we got catalase reaction. You see it bubbling? You may not be able to see it well. It's very tiny bubbles in the blood. Now let me come down so we can see a little bit better. Now what we're looking for is a reaction to the extra oxygen in the hydrogen peroxide. And that's the reaction right there, that bubbling. You see the bubbling? And again, it's not going to go crazy. This thing's been sitting around here I don't know how long. You see it? That's the reaction to blood. This thing is no question. This was biological. And it was, I can see all the markings of a scale and the tab that locks it in and the flexible part, the whole part. It is a dragon scale. Now, it's from a tiny dragon compared to the one that we're looking at there. Now, remember the layers that Sam Osmanagich was showing, talking about them being man-made. Well, I could understand why he would take that interpretation, but that's not what we have here. This is dragon scales. See them? And they're all the same like this, all run down this whole thing. And that's what he's seeing over in Bosnia. Now, he might be seeing one that's good looking and then a bunch of them that are just all busted up. But there are some extremely perfect looking pyramids here. And they are made out of the exact same materials that the ones in Bosnia are made out of. We don't understand our world. We just don't understand it. See this? I wrote this in 2015. Mud fossils, Velikovsky, minds in collision. He wrote worlds in collision, which was a catastrophe. I had so much evidence at this point, and every single one of the scholars refused to examine it. Not said, okay, let's take a look at it. No, we won't look at it because you have too much evidence. DNA, CAT scans, specimens. Coming out of my ears, bones that are turned to stone. Yale tells me that's just a rock. I said, no, it isn't. That's a bone. It had blood coming out of it. This is a goose. It's my buddy Caesar. And there's his feathers and everything in the feather pattern in his head. I figured out the process that makes all this stuff work. It's nucleophilic substitution. And this is another problem that they're having, is because I have done the chemistry that they should have been able to figure out and never did. So we have a problem with academia, a serious problem.